Welcome to Near Falls with D. He's talking on bars and how they win it all. Yeah, it's just Near Falls with D. The final takedown, the glory or the fall. So loosen up, step on in, wrestle with the need to win. We're talking Near Falls with D. Ready or not, he's here to brawl.
What's going on, wrestling fans? Welcome into another edition of Near Falls with D Hall, a wrestling podcast. Today, so excited. This is the best time of year. My favorite project of the year, the 24-25 WPIAL Coaches Preview. So excited to bring this to you guys. I have a bunch of different coaches coming on from across the WPIAL. They're going to come on, talk about their schedule, expectations, up-and-comers, their leaders, their seniors, all that type of stuff. You guys know the drill. This is year 3 or 4 of me doing it. So pumped up to bring it to you guys. I really hope you enjoy it, and just hope you enjoy listening to these guys talk like I did. It was always a blast for me, and this year was no different. So without further ado, welcome in to the WPIAL Coaches Preview.
Welcome to the Near Falls WPIAL Show, where D.R. and Kaz are gonna tell you all the things you wanna know. Whether it's Trinity or Spencer Lee or Mr. Kurt Angle, just ask Vinny, where be at Ken and Mac for sure. They got the interviews to soothe your soul, because it's Near Falls in the WPIAL.
All right, joining me next on the call, we have head coach of Burgettstown area high school, Mr. Joey Vigilati. How are you, sir?
Good, man. How you doing?
Doing real good indeed, my friend. Always good to have you on. You're one of my favorites. It's like Christmas, man. It's starting to get a little cold out there, a little dreary. People start to hate this weather. To me, it feels like, wrestling weather, baby.
Yeah, man.
So real excited to get into it. But man, you guys had a fantastic year last year. Second in the WPIAL, fell short just a borough. But talk about your year last year. I mean, a special group that ultimately went on to bigger things in college.
Yeah, I mean, I said like 5 or 6 years ago, there's going to be some stepping stones here that we're going to have to deal with. And, the goal is to get better every year. And, I think we accomplished that. I mean, obviously winning the WPIAL title and then coming back and being the runner-ups. I mean, it's disappointing. I mean, our goal is to win them all, and I mean, I told the team at the end of last year, we were undefeated the whole year. And then we ended up losing the last 3 duels of the year. And it's not really a way that you want to end, but, I mean, I think everyone knew who our studs were last year. And then, it's small town wrestling, man. I mean, the rest of the team, I mean, I wouldn't say we weren't, I wouldn't say that a lot of them weren't seasoned, but it's like a lot of the kids are wrestling, first and second year kids. Yep. It's just how they are. That's small school wrestling. But I mean, that group set the tone. So the new leaders are stepping up, and I mean, proud of everything they've done. That was a, pretty crazy run the past 5-6 years that we've had.
Talk about those guys that are in college. Your alumni group. What are they doing post high school?
So we got, Joey Senapal still at Lock Haven competing there. His brother Parker and Gavin Suika are at Edinburgh right now. We have Rudy Brown, who's at Penn State Barron. And then we have DJ Slovic, his brother Dylan Slovic, wrestling at Pitt Bradford. So, yeah, there's a lot of kids that went on to compete at the next level. And, I think they're enjoying it, and a little bit different. They're adapting well, though, and I think the problem with a lot of kids when they get into college is, coming from a small town like Burgettstown, you have the whole school behind you. You have the whole community behind you. You have your family that can go to every single dual meet and every tournament. And then you get up there and no one's around anymore. So that's something that is going to take a little bit of getting used to. But, if you love the sport, then you're doing it for yourself. You're not doing it for anybody else.
Yeah, man, for sure. I got you there. So as we turn the page into the off-season program, how's that gone for you guys? Has it still been numbers good? rolling
Oh
into the
yeah,
season?
yeah. I mean, we don't stop whenever the season ends. We go right into freestyle, and then after Fargo, we take maybe 3 weeks off, a month off, something like that, and then we get right back into it. I mean, a bunch of our kids go to Pitbull with Sonny. Sonny's been a blessing for our program, having him around, and I think it was. I mean, he kind of had to deal with some politics at the other bigger schools that he was in and was a little leery. And he came in and met the staff and understood how we did things. I think that I think that he really liked being in Burgettstown, very small compared to what he was used to. But yeah,
I'm sure he
and then
brought a
once we
wealth
get
of
into,
knowledge for the guys. I mean, just to roll around with him, just to,
yeah, I mean, it's just
bounce
totally
off.
different culture too, that he brings. It's not just wrestling knowledge, it's culture. It's, you shake your coach's hand when you leave. Shake your coach's hand when you get there. Your shoes come off before you step on the mat, and just totally different culture. And you see at the international level, you see why these Japanese wrestlers are starting to surpass Americans. I mean, you can see it. And
Yep.
it's I don't know if it's a work ethic, conditioning, or anything. It's a totally different culture, man, and you can tell that they're starting to catch on over there.
So talk to me about some of the guys that are going to replace. I mean, you had one of the best classes in recent memory for a smaller school, man.
Yeah.
Talk about some of the guys that are going to replace or fill those shoes.
Replacing them, that's hard to
Right.
do, but Burgettstown wrestling will survive. We have good freshman Carter Cade is coming up. He was a freestyle state champ last year. He plays pretty high in his junior high state bracket. Brady Wrightweiser coming up. I mean, he plays pretty high at junior high states a couple times, I believe, third or so.
What weight are those
But
guys
I
going to
mean,
be?
we graduated 8 or 9 starters. So I mean, small town wrestling like Burgettstown, it's just we hallways, we don't recruit other states, and you know what I'm talking about when I say that, but
we'll
we
get into
take
that.
we
What weight are those guys going to be? Those two freshmen that you just mentioned.
they'll be around the middle,
Okay.
around 32, 38 or so. Brady got a little bigger, lifting for football, so he'll probably be around 60 or so. And then some other freshmen that came up that have been put time in the room for 2 years or so. They come to all the open mats, and it doesn't matter. I mean, obviously there's no playbook to wrestling. I tell these guys, you just have to get in and experience it and roll around and figure out what works for you, but we'll battle, so.
Yeah, man. I love that. And, I always find it curious to see where those new freshmen are coming in at, because, sometimes you have a little bit of a tougher go for the, upper and middle weights than the lighter guys. But, yeah, man, I have no doubt with the next group of guys to kind of be flag bearers for you guys. Okay. Next thing I got on the list, talk to me about the coaching staff. Same as usual. Your brother running it back with you?
Yeah, I mean, we have no reason to change,
Baby, let's go.
Yeah, I mean, we have the same staff, we had, me and my brother and Sonny. Sonny won't be there as much. His son's, finally in high school level wrestling, but he'll be around. And then we got Gary Avelka, junior high, Joe Senapal, Bill Brown, Grant McCarty, who was involved with the youth program the past couple years, is going to help us with junior high a little bit too this year. And just, I mean, just setting up the next generation. Some of the kids that have come through are going to be volunteering this year, with junior high especially, and still coming in the room and helping us with varsity. But yeah, man, we don't have any reason to make any changes. Everyone likes what they do. We have a pretty tight knit group, and yeah, we're sticking to what we got.
Talk to me about the rule changes, man. The new takedowns, points, the out of bounds rules, the near fall point changes. Talk to me about that, and also talk to me about the possible, what is it, the free points if you're in like the MAC or the Tri-County or one of those things.
The new rules, I mean, I think they're good. I wish that they would try to incorporate some of the freestyle aspects into it. I mean, if it was my decision, high school wrestling would be freestyle, but that's just me. I think they should add a push out point. I do. You push a guy out of bounds 10 times, depending on the referee, you might get a stall call here and there, maybe 1 point, and it'll force him to circle back in. I wish they would add that, but 3-point takedown, the near fall stuff, I don't have an issue with that. I mean, I think it's good changes. So yeah. What was your other one on there?
Talk to me. We lost connection, I think, there for a second, about the out of bounds rule as well.
I don't mind it. It's just if the gym or the wrestling mat can, I mean, a lot of those out of bounds rules in college are because they have a bigger mat, and you're going to see that in high school, not having such a big mat, it's hard to do that because a kid can just touch the gym floor and then they're considered out, or touch the wall. And then you go to those tournaments where there's not enough space, it's going to be referee's discretion. But still, I mean, I don't mind it. I think it's an okay rule. I don't have an issue with anything that they changed.
I hear you. No, the last thing I just remember, the free points for, I was talking to John Fleming from Elwood City last night. He was going on about how, like, McCourt last year used some free points to, not wrestle, or they wrestled extra matches. Now, what's your thoughts behind all that?
I mean, I think it's okay, but it's a long, grueling season. I mean, if you have 4 kids on your team that are ranked top 5 in the world, yeah, you can, I mean, you can go and add an extra 3 dual meets or an extra tournament or something like that. But that's something that I'm holding on to some points. I mean, we entered another tournament because the section got smaller a little bit, but I'm not going to make any changes to my schedule right now. I mean, if the kids feel that they're healthy enough and they want to go an extra couple dual meets or something like that, I'll add it. But right now, I'm not making any changes. It's a long season, man.
Talk to me about your schedule. Talk to me about it. Like, what's it look like? Is it same as status quo as you normally do, or did you make any changes last year?
No, I mean, the last 2 years when they realigned that section, when all those AAA teams dropped, we had 7 duels. They were all section matches. Mm-hmm. So we couldn't schedule outside any more duels. Previously, we always tried to schedule a couple AAA teams just to schedule AAA teams when we could. It's just a humbling experience if you can go in and beat some AAA teams, or if they beat you, your head gets too big, you need to shrink it down a little bit. So, but I mean, with our schedule this year, how they realigned the section, we only have 4 section duels because they got us out of the section that has Best Center and, Bentworth and Jefferson Morgan, which is a barn burner section there,
Yeah.
We were, obviously we came out on top the past couple of years, but that's a tough one. So they added us with, Hopewell, good team. I think Lincoln Park, Southside, and Avella. I'm a big small town guy when it comes to wrestling, and these small schools that add their program back. Props to Avella, man. I'm glad that they're back. Me and my brother go way back with those guys, with Coleman Craig and Chaz and Donnie Rush. Those brothers over
Coleman
there.
Craig guy, I used to work with him for years at Climatech, man. Big Coleman.
Yeah,
Craig.
man. Great guys, and I mean, his dad with his business donates to our wrestling program here every once in a while, and yeah, so I'm glad that they're back. That's a good thing for wrestling. Anytime that you see a small school pop up, I mean, Lincoln Park too, added the program. So yeah, man, props to them for getting the program started.
No doubt. Okay, talk to me about your expectations, your goals you have for this team. What's it looking like? I know that you've lost some guys, but you always are reloading. Where do you think you stack up in the AA?
I mean, the goals haven't changed, and I've told these kids that too. And, these kids I know here at Two Brows, I mean, they're online a lot more than we are on the social media stuff. And, you see graduating 9 seniors and the class that we just got rid of. I still told them, the goal's the same. If you think that you're going to go into these matches and these tournaments, you're not going in to lose. You're going in to win it all. So, yeah, the goal is to win the section. The goal is to win the WPIAL, and the goal is to qualify for the state tournament. The goals don't change. We have a good group of leaders this year, juniors and seniors. I mean, Darius Simmons came a long way, and he's really stepping up, and he got a group of young freshmen. They're working out, running down the football field every day before school at 5 a.m. We're not going to stop. I mean, there's no reason. It's not like we're going to say, oh, we're done. That's not it. Our goals remain the same.
I love that, and love that mentality, and I expect nothing less. On a lighter note, room games. What do you guys get into? Dodgeball, kickball? Is it more the same as last year, or did you
Yeah, I
guys
think I said
get after
last year we
something
kind of did
different?
our. Yeah, we have our own game that we call it Devil Ball. We actually took it out of Princeton's warm up. They do a warm up with a you can use a volleyball. They get in there and they all make a circle. You have to go in order. You can only let the ball bounce once. The ball has to stay inside the line, and it gets pretty crazy. You get too close, they can smash the ball at you. It's pretty wild. I'd have to send you a video or something to really understand how
They
it
get a
happens.
little
But
wound up over there, huh?
you know what, man? It got so popular that we do it in phys ed classes now. Like,
I love
you
that.
know, it caught on. So yeah, man. I mean, if it's not fun, why do it? You know. So we try to make it. Tell all these kids when I'm pulling them out of the hallway that, you know, we work really hard, but we have a lot of fun doing it. And if you don't, you know, I mean, times have changed. It's not like drill sergeant coach anymore. You know, it's get in there, mess with the guys a little bit, make sure they're having a good time, and you know, push them as far as they can be pushed. And when you need to back off, you back off and put a smile on their face, you know. And so that's all, man. We just want them to have a good time. And, you know, obviously they have the past couple years, and we'll be okay.
For sure. Social medias. How can we follow your squad this year?
Just Burgettstown Blue Devil Wrestling. I think on Facebook that is, and then just Burgettstown Wrestling on Twitter and Instagram. I don't think we're on Instagram too much, but yeah, if you type in Burgettstown Wrestling, it'll come up.
You cut out there for the last about 2 seconds, but you said
Oh,
Burgettstown
sorry,
Wrestling
man.
on Instagram. You're good.
Yeah, I mean, we'll survive, man. You know, I mean, I think that we'll be okay. I think we're going to surprise a lot of people.
Yeah.
Added some new kids to the roster this year. I think our heavyweight's going to surprise some people this year. You know, we have a kid that came back, football player. 2 years ago, he actually wrestled Baronic to a 1-0 wrestle off match, and then decided to give it up. We got him back, you know, pretty much just to get him ready for college football. Good.
Nothing
you know,
better,
I mean,
man.
he beat the Wilson kid from Wash High before, and we'll see, man. He sticks it out, and we get his lungs going. You know, we tell him he got football lungs right now. You got to get wrestling lungs, you know. So
Yes.
we'll be okay, man. You know, we got a good group of kids, and we'll survive.
Anything or anyone you want to shout out before I leave you go?
If I had to say one thing, I'd say shout out. If there's anyone that deserved that job at Burrow, it was Steve Ansani. So that's one thing I will say. I think a lot of people in the wrestling community know what he went through at the past school with politics and being pushed out. You know, I mean, he was a great guy when I was in school. He was in the corner when I was wrestling. Me and Logan Downs used to have some battles, and he was there. So if I could give a shout out, I'd say, Steve, keep fighting a good fight, you know, with your what you have going on off the mat. And if you're not competing against a Burgettstown kid, you know, we're right there with you, rooting you on, man. So yeah, good for him, man. He deserves it.
The next chapter of the Burgettstown rivalry will be written, and I'm pumped for it.
We'll see if we can get there. Yeah, man. So
I have faith, man. I think I'm sure you guys will see each other at some point this year, but man, it's
hopefully.
Gonna be a good time. All right, brother. Appreciate you, and we'll see you at the tournaments this year.
All right, sounds good, man. See ya.
Later.
All right.